There we go. I'll just project. You don't want that big voice. Welcome, welcome, welcome to our service this morning, and we'd like you to join us on a sing-along song. Daniel Nahmod tune called More Than Enough. And I think our words will be appearing momentarily. There they are. Okay, here we go.
There is more than enough in the universe that you created. There is more than enough on a planet of sacred design. There is more than enough for humanity made in your image. Why would I worry? Why would I doubt? Why would I ever think I go without? Why would I worry? Why would I doubt? Why would I ever think I go without? Your infinite love made me, made everything I see, and all that will ever be is your infinite love. Let my soul know the truth. Whatever I choose to do, your infinite love will prove more than enough. There is more than enough in a universe that you created. There is more than enough on a planet of sacred design. There is more than enough for humanity made in your image. Why would I worry? Why would I doubt? Why would I ever think I'd go without? Why would I worry? Why would I doubt? Why would I ever think I'd go without? Your infinite love made me, made everything I see. All that will ever be is your infinite love. Let my soul know the truth. Whatever I choose to do, your infinite love will prove more than enough. Your infinite love made me, made everything I see. And all that will ever be is your infinite love. Let my soul know the truth. Whatever I choose to do, your infinite love will prove more than enough. More than enough. More than enough.
All right, I'd like to introduce our musicians to you this morning. We have our fabulous, wonderful homegrown band here. Ed Cosby on guitar, Bill Dixon on bass, and David Page on drums. We are so grateful for these guys. I'm Diane King Van here at the keys. Our song leaders and soloists this morning are the wonderful Karen Allen and Rick Dale. And now it's time for you to join us on one more song. So stretch out those legs, stand on up, and we're going to do one of my favorite songs because this features David on those drums. Yeah, God is my source. 1, 2, 3, here we are. 1, 2, 3.
God is my source. God is my power. God gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. God gives me everything I need. Love is my source. Love is my power. Love gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. Love gives me everything I need.
You changed the joy.
Joy is my source. Joy is my power. Joy gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. Joy gives me everything I need.
Now it's time to meet, greet your neighbor. And start work your way back because we have more singing to do. And we're going to pick up with peace. And here we are.
Peace is my source. Peace is my power. Peace gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. Peace gives me everything I need. God is my source. God is my power. God gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. God gives me everything I need. God gives me everything I need. God gives me everything I need.
Good morning, beautiful center. I'm Carla Schrotus, your staff minister. And it's here that we teach and we believe that the loving arms of God are inclusive. And so whatever brought you here this morning, whatever path you've been on, you are truly welcome. We're going to start this morning by reading the Flames of Faith. We perform this ceremony to promote the universal consciousness of life, which acknowledges that all peoples, all faiths, all sentient beings come from one great universal presence, which we call spirit. Fundamental to this truth is the unifying nature of all religious thought, experience, which we honor here today. We light the candle for the Tao, honoring the universal path of harmony and equilibrium, the natural way. We light the candle for the shamanic traditions, honoring the beliefs and practices of all indigenous peoples, the way of primal spirituality. We light the candle for Hinduism, honoring the path of knowledge, action, and devotion. We light the candle for Judaism, honoring the ethical path of living by sacred law. We light the candle for all forms of Buddhism, honoring the Four Noble Truths and the path of compassion. We light the candle for all forms of Christianity, honoring the Christ consciousness as the path of love. We light the candle for all forms of Islam, honoring the path of compliance, the will of God as the highest calling. We light the candle for the universalistic religion of Baha'i, honoring the path of unity and peace. We light the candle for all forms of new thought, honoring the metaphysical path of mental healing through the practice of universal spiritual practices and principles. And as practitioner Dave Friedman lights the last candle, let it represent the path that brought you here this morning. And I invite you now to join me in our morning affirmative prayer. Know as I speak these words for myself that I speak it for each one of you. Right where I stand, that I anchor myself in this holy, holy place. I recognize that the Divine Father and the Cosmic Mother are the very essence and the truth of everything that is. as it is the very truth of who I am. This truth, this power, this presence that has created all things, created me. It created me out of that same love. It created me in that image and that likeness. That I recognize that what I think and what I feel is a creative force that moves through the law. That infinite law that just says yes. And is that infinite law that is always working. And so I put my trust, I put my mind, I anchor it in the truth, in the good, in the light, in the joy, and in the peace. I know that I live a prosperous life. I know that it is God's good pleasure to give me all the kingdom. And so I accept my inheritance. I accept it now. I know that the four squares of life are mine, be it that of health, of wealth, of love, of perfect self-expression. It is mine, and so I live it to the fullest. I live it on high. I live it on purpose. I move meaningful into this world, knowing that this world is here for me to experience, for me to love. And so I take that love out into the world, and I share it with everyone that I meet, everyone that I come in contact with. They are also an agent of love, and I recognize that. I recognize the oneness of all of life. Thank you, God. Thank you for all this goodness. Thank you for this richness. Thank you for the opening in my mind that recognizes that I live in an abundant world, and all of this good is here for us to experience. And I give great thanks for Dr. Maureen here this morning, here to anchor us in this truth that we do live in a prosperous world and that it is ours. It's ours to experience. I know that there is a perfect word and a perfect idea for you to take to this morning that will enrich your life tenfold. And so as I release this word with such heart and such great gratitude, I say thank you, God. Thank you for all of your abundant wishes. And together we say, and so it is. And at this time, I invite Reverend Bruce to come up and give us our morning affirmation.
Good morning. Our affirmation today comes a direct quote from Dr. Holmes. And for those of you who haven't been here before, the way it works is I will read it, then it will magically appear up there somewhere, and then you'll read it along with me. I've listened to lies long enough, and they've brought me misery. Right now, I deny those false beliefs and affirm the truth. I am prosperous. I am prosperous because I choose to know that I am prosperous. Together. I've listened to lies long enough, and they've brought me misery. Right now, I deny those false beliefs and affirm the truth. I am prosperous. I am prosperous because I choose to know that I am prosperous. And so it is.
Thank you, Reverend Bruce. And please welcome Allendale.
We're going to do a song that was written by Mr. Him.
Are you ready? Get ready for the good in everything. Prepare to be born in by the party of love. Expect to be blown away by what you dream. Turn around and consider where you have been. Now look where you're going. It's your decision. Proceed with open arms. Open the impossible. It's not impossible. Because there's a good thing coming one way or another. A new thought being taught. Give to each other. You can't hate someone else and love yourself. Why don't you open your heart and get ready for the good? Get ready for the good. Existential is fine when you're driving blind. Just getting by won't suffice to feed your soul. You deserve what you think you do, and you know it. Oh, all the gifts of God are surrounding you. Good, 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 but not too good to believe in. Expect to be blown away by what you're dreaming. 'Cause there's a good thing coming one way or another. A new thought being taught. Love one another. You can't hate anyone and love yourself. So why don't you open your heart and get ready for the good? Get ready for the good. You could be more than you think you are. The heat of the sun, the light of a star. The best that life offers is what you allow. Are you ready, ready now? There's a good thing coming one way or another. A new thought being taught. Love one another. You can't lie to someone else and be true to yourself. Why don't you open your heart and get ready for the good thing coming one way or another? A new thought being taught. Give to each other. You can't hate anyone and love yourself. Why don't you open your heart and get ready for the good? Get ready for the good thing coming. 'Cause there's a good thing. It's coming, coming. A good thing coming. Get ready, get ready. Good thing coming. A good thing coming. It's a good thing coming.
Allendale, thank you so much. And please welcome Reverend Judy Chapman.
Good morning. So this is the time of the year that we renew our commitment to our spiritual center for our next year of financial support. And it's also my favorite time of the year because we invite one of you, one of our members of our congregation, to share why they're here. Why are they here at this center? And this morning, it's Jamie Kalama. Please welcome her.
Thank you, Reverend Judy. So, my name is Jamie Kalama. I've lived here for 21 years in San Clemente. And I have two grown sons who have families of their own, and they all live locally. Good for grandma. Oh, yeah, definitely. So, I was born and raised a Mormon. My father was the bishop of our church. I went through high school and graduated from seminary, went to Brigham Young University, married in the Los Angeles Temple, and I was a choir director for a regional choir, among many other jobs. Lots of opportunities to learn and to be of service to other people. The problem was that, like a lot of religions, they love you as long as you believe what they believe. And when the church decided to take a legal action to limit human rights and civil rights for gay people, that's when I drew the line. And my sons and I went home from church the day that they announced from the pulpit that they wanted us to have yard signs and give brochures to our neighbors to vote for, this was Proposition 22 years ago, then became Proposition 8, both of which got defeated. I mean, you know. Now, the first one didn't. It was a resounding success for the Mormon church. But I digress. So we went home from church that day, and we did as the church taught us, was to pray about everything. So my boys and I went home, and they said, Mom, what do you think about what the bishop said today? And I said, well, since he said it was from the prophet, and the prophet speaks for God, then I guess we better pray and make sure that that is true. All three of us, when we finished our fast and our prayer, had such a strong feeling. We were all crying. We all said the same thing. This is not what Jesus would do. And that was the end of our time as Mormons. Anyway. So after we left the church, I felt like I was kind of wandering in the spiritual wilderness. And a friend of mine introduced me to Conversations with God. If you've never read those books, I highly recommend them. And it opened my eyes and resonated as truth in my soul, truly. First time I'd ever really felt that. And several other books came into my path, as they do when you open your mind. And they all resonated as truth. And I loved it. I loved the feeling I had. My boys and I studied a lot, and we all felt the same way. But we lacked a spiritual home. We had gone to church for their whole lives up to then, and my whole life. And it felt weird to get up on Sunday and not go anywhere. But all the other churches we had considered all had the same problem. They only love you if you believe what they believe. So we vowed we would never go to another church. Ever, ever, ever. We will not go to church. That's it. We're done. Until about 1.5 years ago, my friend Cheryl Lyman invited me to come to her church. And she said, well, it's really not a church. It's called the Spiritual Center. And I'm like, ooh, that sounds interesting. I like the word spiritual. And she said, I think you and I have similar beliefs, so come and check it out. I don't think she really expected me to come, but I did. And the first thing was the meditation, which I thought was so cool and really put me in a frame of mind. But the thing that clinched it was lighting the flames of faith. I've talked to several other people who have had that same reaction, because not only do they honor all religions, they often use those religious beliefs in our teachings here, in the talks that we hear. And I just love that. I'm like, well, I'm in. And then started hearing, some of the messages and coming and talking to people. And I realized that these people are really intelligent and so happy. Two things that, aren't really, you don't find them in the world very much. And these people do powerful things behind the scenes, in front of the scenes. Almost everyone I've talked to, and I haven't talked to everyone, has that same thing. They have power. And after being here a couple months, I did something I never thought was possible. After 60 years, I learned to love myself. And now I can't get enough of me. As you can see, I'm probably over my time. But it is a wonderful feeling. And in fact, the song that Rick and Karen just sang, you can't hate anyone if you love yourself. And boy, did it change my whole outlook on people once I learned to love myself. It was so easy to love other people and not to make conditions upon love and upon my affections. And also the other lyric that I really resonated with was, a good thing is coming. And a good thing has come to me. And I thank all of you for your welcome. And I appreciate you. And I can't wait to see what other adventures we're going to have together. Thank you.
Thank you, Jamie. And she's also in our choir. She joined the choir and just, it's great. It's just great. Our guest this morning is an ordained minister of religious science and has been awarded both a doctorate of religious science and a doctorate of divinity for exceptional service with the Centers for Spiritual Living. She's been in active ministry for 24 years and a practitioner for 30 years in that movement. Over the years, she has received every possible award the Organization for Service Above has for service above and beyond the call of duty. And on a personal note, I've known her for about the 30 years. I've been to every workshop that I can possibly get to that she provides. I've been to many, many, many of her talks, and she is absolutely dynamite and the best. I consider her a friend. I am so grateful that she's here this morning. Please give a warm welcome to the Reverend Dr. Maureen Hoyt.
Oh, I'll give you your $10 after. Good morning. How are you today? You had a little rain in your neighborhood. Yes, we had little bits of it all the way down. I want to say thank you to my granddaughter for coming along with me this morning. Sydney, meet Sydney, yes. She actually came because she expected to see friends from the tween camp that they had. Some of them come to this center. So she, her motives weren't entirely pure. Let's just put it that way. I want to also thank Dr. Heather for asking me to come and be here today. Heather and I have a long history together. We're both Canadian, and she and I started in ministry almost about the same time. So I feel like a little bit like coming home, because so many of you I've seen at Arrowhead over the years, and there's a symbiosis, you know, when you go to various centers, and you can't go anywhere. It's like going to a 12-step meeting. You can't go somewhere without meeting somebody you already know. It's quite wonderful. The theme for this month, starting this month, is the first Sunday, is with the organization is spiritual living through financial health and prosperity. It's my favorite topic. It's absolutely my favorite topic. Money can be a really big bugaboo for people, for some people, maybe not for anybody in this room. Let's just say your family. Somebody in your family has issues around it. And I always remember Stuart Wilde when he said, the trick to money is having some. You know, that's it, really, that's it. So my mentor and my teacher for, gosh, the last 17 years has been Dr. Maria Nemeth. And she wrote, among other books, but this one is phenomenal, called The Energy of Money. And I worked with her for the last 3 years on a webinar that she did called Unleashing the Energy of Money. And I just finished an 8-week class at Granada Hills on her book. It was spectacular. And in this class, we started out with 40 people and ended up with 37 for an 8-week class that went through the summer. And I'm not saying this to brag. Well, maybe a little bit. But because the class was just so riveting, and because for an 8-week class, and being as it was cumulative, it's amazing how the students in this class who stayed the course managed their money in very different ways at the end of the class. They generated for the class. Now, mind you, there are people who came to the class who didn't generate income at all. And then there were others in the class who began to tithe 10%. They generated over $240,000 of income for themselves. So 24,000 of that came to the center, which was an incredible thing. You know, and it's still demonstrating itself because one of the people in the class is a movie producer, and she is working on getting money to create this film that they're doing. And every time a check comes in, she tithes 10% of it to the center as a result of it happening during the time she was in the class. Anyway, I'm going off here, but Maria Nemeth has a definition of success. And she uses it with money and the energy of money, but it's a definition that works for anything in your life. Doing what you said you would do consistently with clarity, focus, ease, and grace. That's her definition of success. It isn't about acquiring stuff and things. It isn't about getting that new car. It isn't, although those are byproducts of this, but doing what you said you would do consistently with money, with clarity, focus, ease, and grace. It's a given that all of these things will come naturally. And what we learned in this 8-week class was to set our intention and our standards of integrity. And when we know what those are, life gets so much easier. It just does, because we learn how to do what it is that we need to do consistently based on our standards of integrity. Those are things like Dr. Robert Bitzer said, never compromise principle, even for special occasions. But never compromise your standards of integrity, even for special occasions, is what I say. So Ernest Holmes, Bill W., and the writers of the Bible promised us essentially the same thing. Change our thinking, change our lives. It is done unto us as we believe. And when I surrender my addiction or my errant thinking to a power greater than myself, everything in life changes accordingly. Those are the promises of those 3 books. I came to the Science of Mind through a 12-step program quite a few years ago. I never looked back. Maria Nemeth tells us that when we master the energy of money, we master all of life, everything in life. We master relationships. We master health. We master creative expression. And so my question to you today is that what have you come to practice mastery over in this lifetime? Every family is different. I have 2 sisters. I have 3 sisters. One has passed away. But my 2 remaining sisters have come to practice mastery over relationships. Both have been married several times, but they keep trying. You know, this is the tenacity. I just love it. My brother has come to practice mastery over his work, and I have come to practice mastery over health, emotional, spiritual, and physical. I've managed 2 out of 3. So I'm on my way there. If I get a handle on the physical, I'll let you know. Well, you'll see the evidence of it, so it won't be necessary. So Ernest Holmes said in The Science of Mind early on, one of my favorite things, he just simply said, always expect the best. Always expect the best. And the Buddhists say, expect nothing, be prepared for everything. They're both the same, essentially. It's clear that we're intended to have a superlative life experience. Do we all get that? Several years ago, he's dead, Dr. David Walker at Asilomar said something. He said, never let your good get in the way of the best. You know, we always say, I'm treating for my good. Well, wait a minute. How about treating for the best? How about just going that one extra little distance on that? Excuse me. Some of us settle for good when the best is trying to make itself known to us. God keeps tapping us on the shoulder. Tap, 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 tap. This is the best. This is the best. This is the best. And we don't pay attention. And then pretty soon God gets tired of tapping and throws a brick upside the head. Something really big happens. And we do live in an abundant and prosperous universe. That's the thing. And yet we argue for our limitations so hard we get to keep them. We've heard that over and over again, I'm sure. I know one in this room does that. I know no one here does that. But just in case you have a family member who might do it, you can see the pattern of their limitations showing up. And when you do see them, you're duty bound as a good religious scientist to point it out to them. It's a teaching moment. It's a teaching moment, right? They may not like it at the outset. They may even defend their positions. They may even unfriend you on Facebook. But the idea that you allow someone you love to continue arguing for their limitations is really says more about you than it does about them. And we can do it in a loving and gentle way. I don't want anyone telling me about my shortcomings. I don't know if you're the same as I am, especially when I've already determined that those shortcomings are in me already through the use of my very clever monkey mind that I have. So when someone tells me what I've already told myself in secret, it kind of solidifies the idea that I might have these shortcomings. And it's not a nice thing, especially when it's your children telling you sometimes. Now, what is true is not always the truth. Have you ever noticed that? What is true begs the question, why am I always so broke? That's a terrible question to ask yourself. The brain cannot not answer that question. So it's going to find all kinds of reasons why you are always broke. My brain is compelled to answer a why question. Joe Dispenza talks about that a lot, as does Bruce Lipton. I don't want to give you the answer to why am I so broke because I don't want you to have any new ideas. But in fact, if I reframe that question from why am I so broke to why do I always seem to demonstrate income from unexpected sources, I like answering that question. I like that it's positive and uplifting and a powerful reframing of a very disempowering and negative question. Why do I always seem to demonstrate income from unexpected sources? Income has never been my issue. That's why I love to teach classes around it. So this is living a superlative life when we start asking the positive questions and the uplifting questions. If we live in an abundant and prosperous universe and believe this, this is truth. What is true, that occasionally we do experience maybe cash flow problems. We do have money issues. But we must become aware of how we say things because saying I am broke is a lifetime experience. Feeling broke or temporarily strapped has a beginning and an end. I borrowed this concept from Eckhart Tolle. He said that when we put the name of God, I am, in front of any negative saying, we are diminishing the power and presence of spirit in our lives. And if you hear anyone in your circle of influence who talks like this, again, you're duty bound as a good teacher of the science of mind to call it to their attention, lovingly and gently. They may not thank you right away for your candor, but they might come back to you at some later time and say, you know what? That simple thing that you shared with me changed my life. Because once we have an awareness about something, we can't be unaware. That's just the way it is. One of my favorite turns of phrases when dealing with people like this is, could you entertain the possibility of looking at this differently? I mean, How gentle is that? Nobody's going to slap you if you say something like that. And if the person says yes, then the next question is, are you up for coaching? Are you up for coaching? I have observed certain behaviors inconsistent with your perfection. Now, I love that. It holds within that so many possibilities. But it's gentle and loving, right? It's not, wow, you always do this stupid thing every time. I just see you doing it over and over again. Years ago, I took a group facilitation course with Terry Cole Whitaker. And this was one of the most memorable tactics that she shared with me during the course. And I've taught it ever since. So I finally get to it. The talk title today is Your Fortune Begins in Consciousness. Dr. Robert Bitzer did say, consciousness is everything. I never compromise consciousness or principle, even for special occasions. My teacher, Dennis Merritt Jones, said that the definition of consciousness is everything you've ever believed to be the truth about yourself up to this point in time. That's your consciousness. It's everything. It's your Akashic record. It's everything in the subconscious mind. This presumes then that consciousness is an ever-evolving thing. It's not a matter of higher consciousness or, God forbid, lower consciousness. It's a matter of expanded consciousness. If we look at it that way, there's so much possibility in it. I am more aware of the power and presence of God in my life today than I was yesterday. Don't we all think like that? Yes? Yes? And my awareness is less than it will very likely be tomorrow. I'm not so much seeking God today as I used to in my early days of self-discovery. It's more about letting God show itself to me. I'm not looking for anything because I used to look for things outside myself. But today, God shows itself to me in a way that I can understand. There's a wonderful Rainer Maria Rilke quote floating around Facebook, and it keeps coming up on my page for me to notice. So I figured you must want to hear it too. I always think God is really cute sometimes, but this is not a brick upside the head, but it's an awareness. Rilke said, I beg you to have patience with everything unresolved in your heart and to try to love the questions themselves as if they were locked rooms or books written in a very foreign language. Don't search for the answers, which could not be given to you now because you would not be able to live them. And the point is to live everything. Live the questions now. Perhaps then, someday, far in the future, you will gradually, without even noticing it, live your way into the answer. Don't you love this advice? Live everything. Live the questions now. And eventually, we live our way into the answer. This is the best guidance in times of change, the way things are going right now in our world, in our country, and for some of us in our lives. 3 of my very dearest friends have been diagnosed with cancer in the last month or so. And God love him, our beloved Joe Bloomer made his transition a few days ago. What I've learned in my many years in this teaching is that consciousness is cumulative. The science of mind isn't a microwave philosophy. It's a crock pot philosophy. Just think about that. Well, things have to stew and cook a little bit before they're easier to swallow, if you will. It's quite, food metaphors are so good sometimes. You know that? It takes time to grow who we are spiritually and emotionally and psychically. It takes time. My kid's dad used to want to take a pill and be able to play the piano overnight like Keith Jarrett or Vladimir Horowitz. And I remembered reading one time about a fledgling reporter that was interviewing Vladimir Horowitz. And at the end of his interview, he said to Horowitz, he said, I'd give my life to be able to play like you. And Horowitz turned to him and said, I did. and walked away. You know, we do want microwave change in our lives, but sometimes it does take time, and time is what we have. It takes a lifetime for us to develop all the nuances of a masterpiece, whether it's playing the piano or a work of art. And yet, every person here today is a masterpiece. Everyone. Every person here is a masterpiece, but still a work in progress. If you've ever painted, you know that sometimes you go back and you look at your artwork and you think, well, I could have done this, or I could have changed that, or I could have put a little dab of yellow here. But we are masterpieces, but we're works in progress. Science of mind is like a puzzle, too. And I've been thinking about this a lot. I'm taking a writing class, and I know that when I put this down on paper a little bit, I know that I have to put it down on paper a lot. And I was thinking today that, you know, we have all the pieces to the puzzle, but we just might not know exactly where they all fit, or have the time maybe to put those puzzle pieces all together. Or there may be that one missing piece. And Michael Beckwith said one time that people come to us for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. And I think the people who are there for a reason are part of our puzzle. They might represent maybe a quarter of the puzzle. The people who are there for a season might represent maybe a half of the puzzle. But it's the lifetime people. They're the ones who put the edges in. And they're the ones who fill in those last few bits at the very end. I think it's an amazing metaphor, and I have to write a little bit about it. When I was growing up in Canada, at Christmas time, my parents set up a 10,000 piece jigsaw puzzle in the rumpus room down in the basement, right? 10,000 pieces. And it was there through the whole Christmas holidays, the 2 weeks we were off. Anyone could come and add a piece here and there. Neighbors came. And, you know, miraculously, it was always finished just before we went back to school after the holidays. I never knew whether that was by design or by default. You know, I never quite got that. But it's a good metaphor for our lives. We're all works in progress. We cannot do it alone. And even when we feel separate, someone comes, someone shows up to help us through and to fit those puzzle pieces together for us. There are people in this world who have, and I'm going to get emotional, but who have absolutely no clue how they helped me consciously or unconsciously. There are some that I'll never get to thank because they're long gone from this world. But what I realized, those were the people who showed up when my connection to God was weakened. And when I realized with their help that while my connection was weakened, God remained steadfast through it all. So my point today is that no one can really ever be out of principle. We're always in principle at the level of our own consciousness. And even though I may be experiencing challenges in my life, whether internal or external, I have everything I need at my disposal to overcome those challenges. Ernest Holmes said it so beautifully on page 33 of The Science of Mind. And he said, God is always God, no matter what our emotional storm or our objective situation may be. There is always a something hidden in the inner being that has never been violated. We may stumble, but always there is that eternal voice forever whispering within our ear, that thing which causes the eternal quest, that thing which forever sings and sings. So this afternoon, we're going to learn how to get in touch with what our life's intentions are and actually write what our standards of integrity are. And we will do that in real time in the class. So if you haven't signed up for it and you would like to participate, you know, you must, if you come, you just might discover some part of yourself that forever sings and sings, knowing with God all things are possible. And so it is. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
a child receives protection from a mother's warm embrace. We are held in the hands of grace. We are held in the hands of forever safe in the heart of God. Like a child receives protection from a mother's warm embrace. We are held in the hands of grace. We are held in the hands of grace.
So I invite you to go within and find that perfect place of peace within, that inner sanctuary, that very sacred space that has never been violated, that knows nothing outside the pure essence of spirit. And so I recognize in this perfect place of peace that there is one life. That life is God's life. That life is my life. And that life is perfect right here and right now. I know that when I realize that God remains steadfast through anything and everything that I might be experiencing today, the good and maybe the not so good, I step back as the observer of my life, and I realize that the observer is never unhappy. The observer is never angry. The observer is never lonely or disenchanted in any way. The observer just sees things from that place in consciousness that is just pure, unadulterated beauty, pure, unadulterated joy. And life becomes delicious and delightful because I can be the observer and not be the reactor to what's going on. And so I know today for each person here that the opportunity to be the observer is that place in consciousness where we determine that we are not responsible for what goes on at the level of effect. We are only the observers of it. And the things that go on are simply put into our consciousness as an awareness for opportunities for growth and for change. Change doesn't happen from complacence or contentment. It only happens through irritation. And so when I notice that I am irritated, there is something incoherent in my life that needs to be addressed. And I'm so grateful for the opportunities that Spirit presents to me to be able to do this. I am grateful for every opportunity for change, for growth, for newness, and for an awareness of a more expanded consciousness and who I am in the mix of it. The observer knows that I am the light of the world. The observer knows that I am God's means to be. And so I just simply accept that today with everything in my intellectual capacity and in that capacity of my heart. I am God's means to be. I am the light of the world. And as we know this together for one another, we know it for ourselves. As I release my word to the law, I know that my word has power, and what I have said today has meaning for every one of us, as we say together. And so it is.
Thank you so very much. And let's please welcome back Alan Dale.
going to do a K.D. Lang song. Religious science is all about salvation and redemption. We thought we'd do this song. It's a song that my money likes. It's called Save Me. Save me, save me for you, and pay me the way to you. Lead me upon the captive free, gracious and tame, like love can be. Lead me upon, tell me what's true. Sell me with the world of you. Watch over me with a mother's eyes, judging my worth only to glorify. Watch over me, save me, save me, save me, save me. Carry me through and bury all my doubts of you. Clothe my desire with a mindful thread. I'll drop every sign of fear, I swear. Clothe my desire, save me, save me, save save me, save me, save me.
Dale. So wonderful. Thank you so much.
That was wonderful. Thank you. Beautiful. It's time for our offering. If the stewards would come forward, please. We have a vision here at our center, and we're going to say it together. It appeared on the screen. So let us say our vision together. Surrounded by a beautiful natural garden, our new spiritual home feels sacred, joyful, peaceful, welcoming, spacious, and airy, with plenty of room for individual expression and community growth. That's a powerful vision statement. I love it. Okay. So as we take our gift in our hand, we can feel its energy and repeat after me. I am so grateful. God is so good. As I give with love, I receive lavish abundance. And so it is.
If you've been thinking you're all that you've got, then don't feel alone anymore. 'Cause with God inside us, then we've got a lot. 'Cause I am the river and you are the shore. And it goes on and on, watching the river run further and further from things that we've done, leaving them one by one. And we have just begun, watching the river run, listening and learning and yearning to run, river, run. Winding and swirling, dancing along, we know there is so much to be. But when we remember that grace that we have, then we are the river and God is the sea. And it goes on and on, watching the river run further and further from things that we've done, leaving them one by one. And we have just begun, watching the river run, listening and learning and yearning to run, river, run. And it goes on and on, watching the river run further and further from things that we've done, leaving them one by one. And we have just begun, watching the river run, listening and learning and yearning to run, river, run. With God we've just begun, watching the river run, moving and flowing with spirit to run the river run, run, river, run, river, run. Thank you. Thank you. And we're going to get those skidlets in.